Well, hello, that's me again. Today is Monday, April 29th, and this is probably the last video in April which I'm doing. And the reason I'm making this video is to wrap up a really significant month, but also in the last couple of days, number of people of significance, such as, for example, Larry Wilkerson, who went on yesterday with Nima, our good friend Nima, and they were talking about they are destroying the United States. And Colonel Wilkerson, as you know, he used to be the chief of staff of Colin Powell, and he never minced words. And yesterday they were talking about openly about the current administration and the whole political system basically destroying the United States. But if that hasn't been enough, we have obviously Colonel McGregor talking to Russell Brand yesterday also, and he is operating with the numbers which we know are real and probably higher than that, and he is talking about correctly that there is nothing left. 600,000 Ukrainians are dead. And if that hasn't been enough, we have a legendary Ray McGovern talking again to Nima, and he speaks actually what pretty much we have to understand, that exceptionalism, which is we mean of course American exceptionalism, is an infantile disorder, and it is. It expresses, manifests itself pretty much across the whole board of the current activities of the top of the American society. And for simple people from the street, there's nothing exceptional about their lives, obviously, because it's becoming really worse and worse with every coming day and passing day. And the problem, of course, that when you have people of this caliber, and this is big caliber, there's very few people who are larger than them in terms of understanding of the problems facing the United States. Add here, obviously, such people as Mr. Alistair Crook or Larry Johnson or Scott Ritter, people who were speaking the truth from the get-go of this whole mess which has been created by the primarily United States and NATO. And you understand, as actually Larry Wilkerson stated when he was talking about that these people are destroying the United States. Everything I love about the United States is now practically gone. The whole political top, the Washington swamp, is just a complete cesspool of the sociopathy and people who, well, downright mad. And if that hasn't been enough, so we have now direct confirmation of people who are, I don't know, listen to those interviews of Nima and Russell Brand on Rumble of Colonel McGregor, and you will understand that we are having the red flags popping up, everywhere about the whole situation. So if you thought that I probably, exaggerating or embellishing the issues, let's take a look what Mr. Blinken stated today. You know what, Blinken? NATO has not had and will not have designs against Russia. And he talks about that NATO has never harbored designs against Russia and will not have them in the future, according to him. NATO is a defensive alliance and has no malicious intent against Russia, has never been and never will. He also said that the alliance is now stronger and larger than it was before. So this man, not only he lives in the alternative universe, and obviously you would expect this from most, not all, but most graduates of those degree mills, whatever they are, Ivy League, and they go with those top degrees in political science or law. Law is not really soft degree, but it is definitely not enough to run the country in the 21st century. And here's the guy. He lies into your face, and the problem is he's not lying expecting you, not to believe this lie. No, he lies because he is convinced that you would buy this lie, because he's sociopath, he has no reference points in life, and he's narcissist, as pretty much most of those people are. They have no actually critical skills which are needed to run such country as the United States. Yet here we are, he has audacity and arrogance to go and state that NATO has no designs against Russia. Wow. And you know what, this is pretty much the level of the human degeneracy you would expect from pretty much anybody right now in Biden administration. And if that hasn't been enough, just to demonstrate to you how this exceptionalism, how this this is a malaise. Well, it's not even malaise. It's illness. It's a serious chronic illness. You cannot cure it just by anything other than what it would be, termed as the knockout. And then just getting around and understanding that there was very little exceptional in the United States. And the United States was exceptional in many respects, but not for what many of those people try to portray as the exceptional qualities of the United States. United States definitely is an outstanding nation in terms of the size. It used to be very powerful economically. Obviously, the American Bill of Rights is one of the greatest achievements. But here it is. Let me show you. You go to YouTube, and there are many fanboys, of course. So, and look at this. Here's one of such example. The captured German Marder will provide valuable insights for Russia. You know what? I believe that, we live in the idiocracy. I mean, literally, we do live in idiocracy. When any fanboy with zero understanding what they're talking about, and believe me, those are, look at this, it has the 225,000 subscribers, and there are many like him. One, people say, talk about Zeihan. Zeihan is a complete idiot. I mean, but he has absolutely zero understanding of warfare, the same as pretty much most of the popular military channels, including even some which have their cadre officers who talk about things they have no clue about. But this is just a small bits and pieces, so to speak, to demonstrate to you how what they are talking about. They obviously do not understand that Marder is nothing more than a garbage which will be obviously paraded in the front of Russians, starting from the May 1st, as you know, on Poklonnaya Gora. And here is the history of Marder, if anybody thought that whatever the insights it can provide. It was designed in 1959, 1969, and produced, from 69 to 75. So that basically is the ancient garbage. It's something like the Russian Soviet, actually BTR-60. It makes no difference whatsoever if Russians will look at it or something, because it is completely obsolete junk. You still can use it. It doesn't mean that you cannot use it, but it's absolutely not designed for the modern battlefield. And, well, let me put it this way. The only insight Russians will get there is we'll be cleaning actually the number of the excrement, after, one of those murders, many of them have been hit. So it's not like it can provide zero insights into anything. Of course, there are more modern things like Puma, they may provide some things, but here we have the situation with people who absolutely have zero background and do not understand that it is not just armor. Armor is kind of, and Russians are actually pretty damn good in terms of armor, if not the best in the world in creating the armor. But it is primarily the command and control systems of the communication systems, targeting equipment, the ballistic computers, which do have the real meaning and provide any insights. Marder has nothing like this. So neither, pretty much most of the equipment which was sent by NATO to Ukraine, and which, of course, just look it up. It's all over the internet. For example, like the M1 Bradleys, or whatever the name of this Bradley thing. It's an old, infantry fighting vehicle. So what are you gonna study there? Link 16, if it has one. whatever the Bushmaster, whatever the hell the 25mm gun is there. I don't think so it represents any real value. Of course, you will study just to know, but I mean, you already saw yourself that actually Western armor simply is not designed for the serious war against the enemy, which has the advanced, well, in case of Russia, probably the most advanced armed forces in the world now. And then what insights are we talking about? And here we have this, diagnosis, so to speak. Because, yeah, that's the exceptionalism. They think that any junk which is produced in the West is somehow has to impress those, aborigines from Russia, who still, sell for their, shiny beads and, pieces of glass. People do not understand what they are dealing with. And as you can see yourself, starting from Blinken to this general, I mean, listen, they're one of the most stunning reversal in the American mythology was the parading of their general officers as having been absolute amateurs. But it brings us to the situation on the front. And as we can see ourselves, and that is why for some people they really do not necessarily understand the gravity of the situation for the NATO and combined West until you begin to kind of put things together. Here it is. We have this thing. Suddenly CNN talks about that Russia is making, yesterday as you can see yourself, Russia is making daily tactical gains in eastern Ukraine as concerns swirl around Ukrainian military reporting. As you can see yourself, there's some Lieutenant General Mark Hartling, whatever he is, and yeah, I mean, I am on record. Most of those American generals you wouldn't put in charge of the regiment because they will not be able how to command it in the real war. But here is the situation. And that's what I want to stress here. They're making daily tactical gains. Correct. Russia today against took a couple of villages. I know one today. Yesterday there were some more. And it makes no difference, if you look at the map, because it is clear that they miss the most important thing in military science. Tactical gains are the component, the elements which constitute operational gains. And that's what those people do not understand. Yes, you take one thing, kilometer, advanced kilometer or two inside the defenses of Ukrainian, whatever left of them, and that actually aggregates into the operational level success. And in strategic level success, we already have it basically laid in the front of us, and I will explain to you why it is important. However, we have the other failure, and it's just those failures continue unabated. We have now this. This is from Telegraph 3 days ago. Oh my God, 100-mile US glide bombs fail in Ukraine. Much wanted. Oh, good. So they suddenly use the exact terminology which needs to be used. Much wanted US supplied glide bombs given to Ukraine didn't work due to a combination of mud and Russian signal jamming, the Pentagon has admitted. Well, mud, you know what, yeah, you sure have to, just move your launchers around, but you know what, Russians operate the same way in mud, but guess what, they are moving somehow. Evidently there's something wrong then with all those people who operate those launchers, and believe me, these are not Ukrainians who operate them. Those are guys from the United States and maybe from Great Britain. So, and they say now that mud and signal jamming, yes, because in real war, GPS, the only thing which is the guidance for this gliding small diameter bombs, is going to be jammed, and it was, and nothing could be done about it. Then what do? You suddenly have the whole weapon system being actually defeated yet again, as has been most, if not all, weapon systems provided by the West to Ukraine. And it's not only through those murders or those glide bombs. So suddenly we have this revelation, so to speak, from Washington Post. and they say that Ukrainian lawmaker who spoke on the condition of anonymity to be candid said they believe Zelensky announcement in February that 31,000 soldiers has been killed since 2022 vastly downplayed the war through the war's true toll. I think so. We're looking actually here, not even the order of magnitude. We can pretty much confidently state that actually it's almost, not quite dead, 2 orders of magnitude. And if Colonel McGregor gives the 600,000, which is probably Pentagon estimate of the KIAs. So Russians are way below that, but then again, do not forget, Russians are extremely conservative for their both propaganda purpose and being just, purity of the reporting as done by the Russian Defense Ministry. So they say, oh yeah, altogether about 600,000, but we know that by now we're looking at about 1 million killed probably, and who knows how many millions maimed, and suddenly we have this situation. Well, this guy, this is BBC no less. Situation on front line has worsened, Ukrainian army chief says. And, sometimes you look at those journalists who write this, it's just unbelievable. And look at this. Russia is trying to take advantage of its superiority in manpower and artillery before Ukrainian forces get much needed supplies of new US weapons. Again, this is their coping, hard coping. This is they need to provide self-therapy somehow of the incredible butt hurt. But point is that obviously those so-called weapons which United States wants to provide to Ukraine mean absolutely nothing. They will play no role whatsoever. And those people who say that they will change something, well, they need to talk, yes, to such people as Larry Wilkerson and Colonel McGregor and Ray McGovern. We're talking about the people who are cadre officers with the army background, that they know a thing or two about this whole situation. And how to put it politely, this is kind of accelerating. I already on record for a year at least that we're in the quickening mode, and we have the things unfolding with such speed, and they will accelerate only from here. And this is not just the matter of the military outcome, which we know is, we know the outcome, right? So, and just to demonstrate to you how important things are happening, which of course overlooked by most US media, and actually even people who do work and try to bring primarily through the alternative media the sense and the truth about the situation on the battlefield in Ukraine. Well, guess what? You see this? This is, as you can see yourself, this green, curved line is a Dnepr river. As you can see yourself, along the Dnepr river, we have the borders of pretty much all new 4 areas, which are, of course, Kherson, Zaporozhye, Donetsk, and Lugansk Oblast, which, they face Dnepr River. And even despite the fact that Novaya Kakhovka Dam have been destroyed by Ukrainians, still it is a very serious river. And this is one of the largest rivers in Europe. And what is important about this is this thing. Here is the Mr. Leonkov. Yeah, his call sign is Maduro, because he does look like Maduro, actually, yeah. And he is talking not creation, he talks about the recreation of the Dnepropetrovsk, or actually Dnepr Flotilla. The reconstruction, which is reconstitution because it existed before, on the Dnepr River Flotilla announced by Russian Defense Sergei Shoigu may be directly related to the new stage of the special military operation. He stated it on the 4th of April. And what is this stage? Well, obviously we know that Ukrainian troops, or whatever will be left from them, they will be thrown on the right bank of the Dnepr River. But of course, the forces and means that will be involved in the functioning of this operational tactical formation are not yet known. Actually, they are known now. And what is happening by Russia reconstituting the Dnepr river flotilla is this. This is TASS 4 days ago, and they talk about the Shmel and Kalmar boats with UAV protection will be the backbone of the Dnepr, which is Dnepr flotilla. Including, which is now known, the attached forces, which will be the helicopters and other different of the paratroop and amphibious means. And look at this. The basis of the combat ship composition of the Dnepr flotilla, which is being revived as part of the Russian Navy, will be made up of boats of the project 1204 and 1206. They will be equipped with the protection against drones. This was reported by TASS by two sources close to the law enforcement agencies of Crimea. And I cannot emphasize enough the significance of this news. On March 22, the former chief of the general staff of the Russian, not general staff, Russian Navy doesn't have the general staff, that's incorrect machine translation, chief of the main staff or senior staff of the Russian Navy, Admiral Viktor Kravchenko, told TASS that artillery boats from the Caspian flotilla could be transferred as part of the river boat brigade of the Dnepr military flotilla, the formation of which was announced by the Minister of Defense of Russian Federation, Army General Sergei Shoigu. And according to him, in general, the new flotilla should include a brigade of small missile ships capable of operating in shallow waters, artillery and missile boats. So, what are we looking at? Let me demonstrate to you what actually Shmel looks like. These are small boats. Caspian flotilla has 7 of them. All of them will be transferred to Dnepr, and they are capable, as you can see yourself. They have a 76mm gun. They have their multiple launch rocket system. On the stern. They have other type of the machine guns, and this is just 7 of them, which all of them will be transferred from Volga to Dnepr. Indeed, there is very little sense of keeping them on the Caspian Sea, and because you have relatively, well, I'll explain in a minute or two why relatively friendly countries, and obviously they will have a much better use in Dnepr once the Russian forces begin to push those Ukrainian remnants on the right side, right bank. Now, you have also 2 of those, which we know, Kalmars, which will be transferred there. These are the air cushion vehicles, each of them capable of carrying 1 light tank or 2 APCs or infantry fighting vehicles, and up to a couple of platoons of the Marines. So this will be also based on Dnepr. So as you can see yourself, the preparation is going on there for not only pushing the armed forces of Ukraine to the right bank, but obviously you understand, you cannot just limit yourself to this, because otherwise even the Dnepr flotilla will in this case be a desirable target. So that means you have to go on the right bank. And the right bank means, well, we have here strategic implications or ramifications, and you are free to speculate on this matter. But these are extremely important news, and obviously that this single brigade of those boats is not going to be the end of it. There will be more coming. What will be coming there? I don't know. I have some kind of ideas, but I do not want to speculate on them. Obviously, the Russian armed forces are going to increase the firepower at Dnepr tremendously. For what? Make your own conclusions. And yes, it's not about pushing them on the right side or right bank of Dnepr. It means what? Going over there, and that means, gigantic ramifications for whatever is left of Ukraine. So, and if that hasn't been enough, we have now actually some people waking up in France, just to give you example. Yeah, there is some French journalist is talking about that Europe sliding towards fascism and dancing to the tune of the US. Well, yeah, it does. We know this. But the point is, as I already stated many times, on the record. Even if they get out from the United States, basically, well, controlling them, their lapdogs, it would change very little the attitudes towards Russia and basically the security structure in Europe. However, he's talking about that European Commission is pushing the American agenda and resembling a fascist system with this single-minded decisions. Well, yeah, we know that, and Europeans wanted it. Have a go at it, just your problems, your choices. And then Europe determined its future when it responded with contempt to Russia's attempt to forge ties after the collapse of the USSR and did not honor the Minsk agreements to give Ukraine time to arm itself, according to the DMA star, former director of Sud Radio. And he's talking about you should have thought about this earlier. Well, it didn't, okay? It's a fait accompli. Russians do not trust anybody from European or United States political top. None. There are no honest people. There are no people with integrity. And just to demonstrate to you that actually the national interest and realism, no, not the John Mearsheimer's type realism, I'm talking about real realism when you look at things and say, yeah, I know who you are, I know what you're trying to do. We have the situation, for example, with Kazakhstan. Of course, it created a huge scandal within Kazakhstan. But look at this. This is RT reporting, actually, that US buys old warplanes from former Soviet Republic media. Washington has reportedly purchased 81 aircraft from Kazakhstan for an average price of less than $19,000 each. And Kazakhstan possibly for use Kiev forces in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. It was reported by Kiev Post, but there were some other Russian journalists who dug this story also, and Washington was the winning bidder for 81 of the 117 aircraft, buying them through offshore entities. And they included all kinds of MiG-29s, MiG-27s, and Su-24 bombers. As you might expect, Kazakhstan went bananas and talked about that they are in unusable condition and that actually none of them, have ever left the territory of Kazakhstan. But let me put it this way, I don't buy that. But the point is that those 81s, obviously, they are in unusable conditions, but you know what? Guess what you're buying for $19,000 each? You're buying a lot of spare parts, and maybe you can make out of those, reassemble a few other combat aircraft. So, but Kazakhstan plays this like, well, we never said, we never did this, rumors about the sale of decommissioned military aircraft of armed forces of Ukraine commented in Kazakhstan. The report also says that October 2023 Kazakhstan put up for auction 117 decommissioned Soviet fighters and bombers, and commentary of the Kazakh Spets Export, which is the organization which imports and exports all kinds of the hardware. They say the information disseminated on the internet does not correspond to reality. That's what they said. Sure, maybe. I am not going to go there and, start speculating on this matter, because obviously, that could be true, but something tells me that it is not. And behavior of the former Soviet Middle Asian republics tells you everything you need to know about them. Same as goes for China, for example. No matter, as I spoke about this last time, people have to understand these are the realities of the international relations, especially in this time. Chinese banks are not really allowing the payments from Russia. And no matter what Comrade Z says, and obviously political top of China says, they don't control those banks. And those banks being blackmailed by the United States obviously are not, just conducting the payments from Russia. So all those payments and firms which cooperate with Russia and Chinese firms, they do it through this local agricultural banks. But major Chinese banks, they will not do it. And that tells you pretty much everything you need to know. And I stressed it always for years. You can go to my blog, and read it, that Russia is on it alone. She always was. And the fact that somebody makes statements, which is important, of course, in terms of the formal support and things of this nature. In diplomacy are words too, that it means very little. But then again, to understand what is going on, one have to study Russia. And, what I'm doing my best. And that's what many people do not understand. This is not a show, guys. This is not some rant which Martiana decided to do. I'm trying to pack as much information as I can. And so the review of Russian industry is definitely in order, because many people do not understand that even if China tomorrow, which it cannot do, stops providing Russia with this and that, it will not kill Russia. Russia probably will experience some minor difficulties, but many people need to take a look what Russia is economically and industrially wise. And yeah, this backward country is about to launch soon a nuclear attack, which gonna take us to Mars and other planets of solar system. It's just like, yeah, sure, absolutely. People do not understand this connection, because pretty much what they teach in economic courses in primarily West, and not only West, in Russia too, it's garbage. It's financial, monetary system and all that. It's just, yeah. And so just to wrap it up for today, there is a really great thing which describes, beautifully the current situation. And even that, you have to understand that United States, while cutting their branch for Ukraine and European Union, itself sits on the branch which is wobbly. And we'll talk more about it as time passes by. But this is what I wanted to tell you today, guys. And as always, I want to express my profound gratitude to my wonderful patrons. And you know what, as always, those who like what I do, please subscribe to my channel or support me on Patreon or buy me a coffee and too. And that will be it for today, guys. Have a nice week. Bye bye.